Hey, hey, hey. I'm going to pop this headliner in here today. This is all temporary because I'm not going to get to the build out that I would wish to have before I leave on this next road trip. And I wanted to talk about van insulation based upon what I watch on the Vanlife videos, not all Astro van specific, and then what I see when I do this work, right? And remember, this is just temporary. This is the box I popped in here with this mattress. This is how I had it in my cargo van when I drove across the country the first time in an Astro van. And I actually like that setup, but I'm not planning to do it this exact way. So this is the headliner section, the rear one, that came out of my pal's Astro van. He has the same van. He did not have rear air or heat, and he wanted it, so he got it out of my van. And so my van headliner has holes here for the vents for the air conditioning. And I took this from him. It's actually not as clean as he thought it was, or they dirtied it up quite a bit over there. And I'm popping it in mine because when I'm driving across the country this time, my air conditioning in front works, and it does escape through here, I think. So I'm just putting it up there temporarily before I can get to doing my cedar ceiling. But what I notice is people with cargo vans, a lot of you get cargo vans and you do your build out, and you're insulating the crap out of your van, and you're putting kill mat on the metal panels, and you're insulating the crap out of the floor and the walls and everything else. It's a lot of time and money invested. I don't think you need it. I don't think you need that much of it. Because from the factory, with factory air and heat, with the factory trim package, excuse me, it retains the heat pretty well. It retains the air conditioning pretty well. And there's nothing in there. Right? It's a foam core that it's molded, and it has the material on it. So it's about, gee whiz, man. Some areas it's thicker, but it's maybe 3/16 of an inch like a foam core. And there's an 1/8 inch piece of foam with a real thin material on it. That's it. But the key is that it's spaced down from the metal. So it traps that airspace there. That's what's doing the work, is the trapped air. That's kind of how the insulation really works. When you pull the factory panels off, the side panels, it's the same thing. It's just a piece of plastic glued on the back side of the plastic, not even covering the whole thing, just in large areas. It's a material, it's like a fabric, maybe there's some foam in there too, chopped up and formed into a pad that's about a 1/2 inch thick maybe, and spray glued on the back side. And you can see on the doors, there's just a little carpet on there, on some of it. And that's it. Big giant airspace in there. That's it. There's no insulation. And I'm bringing this up because I've had a cargo van, and now I've had a passenger van. And I know what it's like in a cargo van. You hear everything. So naturally, you think, oh yeah, I need all this insulation. A lot of you think you need it for the heat retention, you're going to be in the cold and everything else. I'm going to get to that in a second. But then when you get in a passenger Astro van with a trim package, you get in it and you're like, wow, it's like being in a Cadillac. But the factory trim, there's no crazy insulation in here. Now, why do I think you don't really need the insulation? Because you're going to be like, well, what about the winter time? You know, you're going to freeze your ass off. There's a guy I follow on YouTube. He's my favorite YouTube channel. I highly recommend you check him out. It's Foresty Forest. A little guy. He's up in Canada. He's been living in a Nissan, tiny little minivan for years, with a fat tire bike in there, inside, and barely enough room to work, and he's cooking up a storm in there and doing all this really cool work. Well, this year he picked himself up a full-size 4x4, I think it's a Chevy van, and I've been watching him go through the process. He's such an impressive guy to watch. He also climbs mountains. He just got over 100 summits, and it's fun to watch him do that. Great drone footage. The footage he gets is great, and he's an unassuming character. He's a great dude, and he does his own cooking in the van, and I could just talk for a long time on him and a lot of other van life. Matter of fact, I'm going to do a video talking about my favorite van life people, or YouTubers in general. But anyhow, in his van, he has the factory trim package, which is the same as this. There's no insulation in it. He's in Canada, sub-freezing temperatures. He put a diesel heater in, and it's enough. He didn't pull his floor up, or he did put a floor in, I believe. He put a pergo floor. I'm not sure what he put under it, but he didn't go crazy. So my point is, think about what I'm saying. I'm not telling you to do what I do. I'm just telling you what I'm thinking and what I'm going to do. And then I do it. And sometimes I don't do what I said I'm going to do, but then I show you what I did. For instance, as I whack my head, I talked about those mast steps, those folding mast steps I was thinking about putting on the outside here. I'm still considering it, but when I open this up, there's a double wall here. And for me to be able to bolt that, I'd have to cut a big channel in here to have room to put the bolts. Of course, there'd be a backing, like I discussed in that video, like a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, mast step, wide washers and everything else. And it would hold. But it looks like it'd be a lot more work to do that. Plus you're putting holes in the side. Still considering it. But I got a pal back east, and he's got the Astro van, and we're going to fabricate some things. We're going to do bumpers, swing away stuff on the rear. Pretty certain we're going to do a rack. I've had an idea for a rack system for a while now that it's going to be it'll be cool. But if we do that, we might come up with some ladder system. So I'm going to hold off on that for the moment. But that's it. I just wanted to talk about this insulation thing. I think people are going nuts. When I do the floor, I don't think I'm going to fill between the ribs. I think I'm going to do a thin foam core, 1/2 inch or less. I don't know what's available. And then a 1/2 inch plywood, and then a linoleum. And that's it. When the build-out's done, I might have a carpet made to fit the area. Maybe 2 of them. Like a shakeout outside. I mentioned it already. And then, yeah, that's about it. You know, on these doors, you might not know it. You can disconnect this clip. They got these clips on here. Holds the door at this position. You just lift up on it, and then the door opens all the way. For those of you who have Astro vans and you're not aware of it, that's how that works. Anyhow, I'm going to put this in today, and got to get back to work. Finishing up that project across the street, and I went and looked at another one yesterday that I think I'm going to do. Because as you know, I need the coin. So before I hit the road, I'm going to squeeze another project in, which means less work getting done to this. But again, just think about this thing with the insulation. Think about what I'm telling you. Watch the Foresty Forest videos. Go back a couple months to watch his, when he got the van and we started doing the build, and you'll see what he did. He did nothing special. He didn't add any other insulation, and he's living in sub-zero temperatures in the winter with snow and ice and everything else, with the diesel heater. So, be cool. See you next time.